There's something happening around you every day that almost no one talks about. People are testing you. Not in obvious ways, in small, quiet, almost invisible ways. A friend makes a joke at your expense and watches your face. A coworker takes credit for something you said and checks if you'll react. A family member cancels plans last minute and waits to see if you'll complain. A stranger cuts in front of you and glances back to measure your response. A partner says something slightly cruel and studies what you do next. Every one of these moments is a test, and every test you fail teaches the world how to treat you tomorrow. The hardest part is that most people don't even know they're being tested. They just feel tired, drained, disrespected in ways they can't name. They wonder why certain people in their life keep crossing lines. They wonder why the same kinds of situations keep repeating. The answer is sitting in plain sight. The world has learned that you are safe to test. That nothing serious happens when someone pushes you. That the price of disrespecting you is low. And once that price is low, the testing never stops on its own. It has to be ended by you. Through positioning, not confrontation. There's a quiet line from Machiavelli that fits this perfectly. What is tolerated becomes permitted, and what is permitted becomes the rule. Read it twice. That single sentence explains your entire social life. Everything you accept once becomes the floor people stand on the next time. Everything you reject becomes the ceiling they don't cross again. Your reactions, your silences, your flinches, your forgiveness, all of it writes a manual that the people around you are reading, whether you realize it or not. Today you'll learn 7 dark psychology principles that quietly end the testing in your life forever. By the time this video finishes, you'll see things in your past that finally make sense, and you'll know exactly what to do differently starting today. Before we begin, drop this line in the comments. I no longer pay the price for other people's experiments. Now, let's start. Number 1. Kill the flinch before the test ever happens. A test only works if it gets a reaction. That reaction is almost never the words you say back. It's the half second before you say anything. A blink that comes too fast. A breath that catches. A jaw that tightens. A smile that drops and then comes back wrong. These are flinches, and every tester in the world is looking for them, even if they don't know that's what they're looking for. Picture a small experiment running inside someone's mind when they test you. They drop the comment. They watch your body for 1 second. If the body moves, the experiment succeeded. They will run it again. If the body stays still, the experiment failed. They will likely never run it again, at least not in that form. So the work isn't about what you say back. The work is about what your body does in that 1 second. Most people lose the test before they've opened their mouth. Here's the strange part. You don't need to feel nothing. You can feel everything. The internal feeling is yours, and it's allowed to exist. The trick is keeping it off your surface. The face stays neutral, the breath stays steady, the eyes stay calm. Inside, you might be lit up with emotion. Outside, you give nothing. Now, ask yourself a question most people never ask. How many flinches have you been leaking your entire life without knowing? Every small flinch was a free piece of information you handed someone. Every piece of information they collected made the next test more accurate. Stop the flinches, and the testing system starts breaking down from day 1. A simple way to practice. The next time something irritating happens to you in traffic, on the phone, in a comment section, anywhere low stakes, do not let your face move, not even slightly. Hold the same expression you had 1 second before. Do this for 1 week. Your body will learn that the flinch is optional. Once it's optional, you start choosing it. And the moment you can choose it, You can also choose to stop giving it away for free. Number 2. Treat every test as an experiment that needs results. Here's a question worth sitting with. Why do people test the same person over and over, but leave another person alone? It isn't because the second person is intimidating. It isn't because they're rich or attractive or powerful. It's because the second person gives no results. The experiment fails every time. And humans, like any researcher, quietly drop experiments that don't produce data. Think of yourself as a lab. Every test someone runs on you is hoping to extract one of 3 things: a reaction, a piece of personal information, a confirmation of how much you care. Most people give all 3 away within seconds. Long explanations, big reactions, visible, emotional cost. The tester walks out of that interaction with a full report. They know exactly what works on you, what hurts you, what triggers you, and exactly how to repeat the process next week with better accuracy. Now, imagine someone whose lab returns nothing. The test lands. The face doesn't change. The answer is short. The energy stays the same. The conversation moves on. The tester walks away with empty hands. They got no reaction worth studying. They learned nothing about your weak points. They cannot tune their next attempt because there's nothing to tune against. Within a few attempts, their brain quietly retires the experiment. Not because they decided to be nicer, because the cost-benefit no longer makes sense. The shift you need is small but powerful. Stop giving full responses to half-question probes. Someone makes a strange comment. You can answer in 3 words instead of 3 sentences. Someone asks an invasive question. You can give a vague answer and change the subject. Someone tries to corner you emotionally. You can hold steady and say almost nothing. There's a quiet observation that captures this. The less you reveal in defense, the less they can plan in offense. Every word you say in reaction to a test gives the next test better aim. Every silence makes their aim worse. People who appear to be repeatedly disrespected are usually the ones who explain themselves the most after each disrespect. The explanation feels like dignity. It is actually data. A small habit will rewire this. For 1 week, whenever you feel the urge to over-explain after someone says something off, cut your response in half. Then, cut it in half again. The shorter you become in those moments, the more your lab returns nothing. And labs that return nothing get abandoned. Number 3. Let the awkwardness stay where they put it. Here's something you might never have noticed about yourself. When someone says something rude or strange, who fixes the moment afterward? Watch carefully next time. There will be a small, uncomfortable beat after their comment lands. The air gets heavy, and then, almost always, the person being tested rushes to smooth it over. A nervous laugh, a subject change, a warm comment to bring the temperature back up, a reassuring smile. That person doing the repair work is doing the tester a massive favor. They are cleaning up the mess the tester made, for free, without being asked. The tester gets to throw a punch and then receive a hug for throwing it. The cost of pushing you is 0 because you absorbed both sides. You absorbed the punch and then absorbed the discomfort it created. This is the most expensive habit in human social life, and almost no one knows they have it. The principle here flips this completely. After a test lands, you do nothing. You let the air stay heavy. You let the awkwardness sit there in the room exactly where they placed it. You don't laugh. You don't change the subject. You don't soften it. You don't smile to reset the mood. You just exist calmly in the discomfort they created, while they slowly realize it isn't going away on its own. This is the moment most testers experience something they rarely feel. They feel the weight of their own words. The discomfort they created becomes theirs to carry because you refuse to pick it up. Their nervous system starts running calculations they didn't expect to run. Did I go too far? Why aren't they laughing? Why does this feel weird now? Should I say something? And once that internal monologue starts, the test has cost them something. They will think twice before running it again. There's a small line worth holding on to. Discomfort is not always yours to fix. You were not the one who created the uncomfortable moment. You don't owe a single second of repair work for someone else's behavior. The instinct to be a peacekeeper is good in healthy relationships. With testers, that same instinct is the thing keeping the testing alive. Let me give you a specific image. The next time someone makes a comment that's slightly off, imagine an invisible weight landing on the floor between you. Most people pick that weight up and quietly carry it for the rest of the conversation. The new move is to leave it on the floor. Look at them calmly. Let the silence breathe. Wait to see what they do next. Most of the time, they will be the one to break the silence, and they will break it on weaker ground than they started on. Number 4. The 4-second wall. There's a specific tool that ends more tests than any other tool in this video. It's a 4-second pause before your response. Not 3, not 2, 4. Long enough to feel slightly uncomfortable. Long enough that the air in the room shifts. Long enough that the tester begins to wonder what you're thinking. Most people answer probes in under 1 second. That speed is the leak. In that first second, you're not responding strategically. You're reacting from the part of you that got hit. The part that's defensive, embarrassed, hurt, or angry. Testers structure their probes specifically to catch you in that first second, before your strategic brain has time to step in. The 4-second wall works because it does 3 things at once that no other move does. First, it removes the heat from your reply. Whatever you say after 4 seconds will be calmer, sharper, and more chosen than whatever would have come out at full speed. Second, it tells the tester, without a single word, that you are choosing your response, not reacting to theirs. That alone changes the dynamic. Third, and this is the part most people miss, it transfers the discomfort. In any tense moment, the person who breaks the silence first loses position. The tester was expecting a fast snap. They got silence. Their probe is now hanging in the air with no answer. They start to feel exposed, even if you haven't said anything yet. Here's a question worth thinking about. How many of your worst social moments would have ended differently if you had just waited 4 seconds before opening your mouth? The strange thing about the 4-second wall is that it doesn't even matter what you say after the 4 seconds. The 4 seconds are the entire move. You can give the smallest, most ordinary reply imaginable after that pause, and it will still land twice as hard as a perfectly worded sentence delivered at full speed. The pause does the heavy lifting. Your words are just the closing line. The hardest part is sitting with the discomfort of the pause itself. Your nervous system will scream at you to fill it. Don't. Let the silence stretch. Count 4 slow seconds in your head, then speak. Or don't. The choice is yours, and that choice itself is the power you didn't have when you were responding instantly. After enough practice, the wall becomes natural. People will start choosing their words more carefully around you, not because you said anything, but because they no longer know what your silence is hiding. Number 5. Charge a quiet price every time. Every tester is unconsciously running a math problem. Does the information I might get from this test outweigh the cost? Most people make the cost invisible. They smile through the test. They absorb it. They never let the tester see what just happened internally. So the test appears free, and free tests are the ones that get repeated, often forever. The move here is not to confront, not to argue, not to start a fight. The move is to charge a quiet price that the tester feels, even if they can't name it. What does a quiet price look like? Let me make this specific. A quiet price is the slight cooling of your warmth for the next 20 minutes of the conversation. A quiet price is not laughing at the next thing they say, even though it might be funny. A quiet price is replying to their next message 30 minutes slower than usual. A quiet price is being slightly less available at their next event. A quiet price is the absence of a small kindness you would normally offer without thinking. A quiet price is a flatter tone the next time they call. None of this needs to be announced. The tester feels it. Their nervous system reads the temperature drop. They may not consciously connect it to what they said, but some part of them notices that something cooled, and that cooling will be associated, faintly, with the moment they crossed a line. Here's why this works so well. Humans are extremely sensitive to small drops in warmth from people who normally give it. A friend who is slightly less warm than usual feels much louder than a stranger who is openly rude. The slight cool down is what their nervous system reacts to most. And the next time they think about testing you in that exact way, their nervous system will quietly remember the cool down and discourage them from running the experiment. There's a line that fits this perfectly. The wise correct quietly, so the lesson outlasts the moment. Loud confrontations turn into arguments where the original lesson gets buried. Quiet temperature drops sink the lesson into their memory permanently. They are not arguing with you. They are sitting alone wondering what just happened and slowly adjusting their behavior so it doesn't happen again. A small thing to try. After the next test that lands, do not confront. Just quietly remove 10% of your normal warmth for the rest of the interaction. See what happens. Most testers will become noticeably more careful with you within minutes. They felt the price. They didn't know what they were buying. Number 6. Become a person whose response cannot be predicted. A test only works if the tester can guess what you'll do. They are running an experiment, and experiments need expected outcomes to be useful. If they can't predict your reaction, the experiment isn't useful anymore. They drop it. Most people are wildly predictable. They reply to messages at the same speed every time. They show up to every invitation. They give the same warm reaction to every comment. They forgive on the same timeline. They get hurt by the same kinds of probes. They explain themselves with the same patterns. From the outside, their nervous system is an open book. Anyone who has known them for a month already has the book memorized. A predictable person is the perfect testing subject. The experiment runs cleanly every time. The data comes back consistent. The tester knows what to expect. The move here is to introduce one specific kind of inconsistency. Not a personality split, not mood swings, just inconsistency in your availability and the temperature of your response on any given day. Sometimes warm and engaged, sometimes politely distant for reasons you don't explain. Sometimes you accept the invitation right away. Sometimes you don't reply for half a day. Sometimes you laugh at the joke. Sometimes you let it pass without a smile. None of this is calculated game playing. It is permission to respond from your own internal state, instead of from the social pressure of the moment. Most people respond to others based on what they think the other person wants. The shift is to respond based on what you actually have available emotionally that day. Some days you have a lot. Some days you have very little. Let that variation show in your engagement. Here's the deeper effect, and it's the one that ends testing. When the people around you cannot predict your response to a probe, the probe becomes risky. They don't know if you'll laugh it off or quietly remove yourself from the next 3 weeks of their life. They don't know if a small disrespect will get absorbed or trigger a temperature drop that lasts a month. Because they can't predict, they get careful. And careful people stop running experiments. The smartest tools in nature evolved by responding only to predictable threats. The animal that couldn't be predicted was left alone. Not because anyone agreed to leave it alone, but because the experiment never returned a stable result. Humans operate the same way socially. Become unreadable in your timing, and the testing dries up without a single conversation. Number 7. The first test, not the 10th. The hardest principle in this video is also the most powerful. The first test is the one that matters. Not the second, not the 5th, not the 10th when you finally explode. The first one. That single moment, early in any relationship or pattern, is when the entire future of how someone treats you is decided. Here's what most people do. They let the first test pass. They tell themselves, it was nothing. They tell themselves, the person didn't mean it. They let the second one pass for the same reason. They give the benefit of the doubt to the third. They start feeling uncomfortable by the fourth. They quietly resent the fifth. They finally confront the sixth, but by then the pattern is set. They forgive after the apology. They tolerate the seventh because they don't want to start drama. By the 10th test, they are exhausted and angry, and when they finally walk away, it looks like an overreaction to one moment instead of a long delayed response to a long pattern. The fix is to react early, not loudly, quietly, to the first test. The first odd comment gets a 4-second pause and a flat reply. The first small disrespect gets a quiet cool down for the rest of the day. The first probe into your private life gets a smooth subject change that the other person notices. The first weird joke at your expense gets met with a calm, unsmiling face. The first time, not the 10th. Why does this matter so much? Because the first test is when the cost of testing you is being set. If the cost is 0 on the first test, it will be 0 on every test after that. If the cost is small but visible on the first test, that price tag gets attached to all future tests in their mind. The person learns, early, that probing you is not free. And once that lesson is in place, the testing rarely escalates. They self-correct without knowing they're doing it. There's a quiet observation worth holding. Patterns begin with a single permission. The first time a behavior is allowed becomes the template for the second time. The second time becomes the third. By the time you finally react, you are not reacting to one moment. You are reacting to a pattern you helped build by being patient too early. This is hard because we are trained to give people room, to assume the best, to forgive small things. Those instincts are good in healthy relationships where both people are trying to be good. They are weapons against you when you're dealing with a tester. A tester is not a person making a mistake. A tester is a person quietly measuring whether you can be safely disrespected. Your forgiveness, in that case, is not virtue. It is permission slip. So the move is simple and brutal and quiet. The first time, not the 10th. The early, small response is far more powerful than the late, dramatic one. Early signals reshape the entire future of the relationship. Late signals just end it. These 7 principles turn you from an easy testing subject into an expensive one. The world adapts to that cost. The testing in your life quietly dies, not because you fought anyone, but because the math stopped making sense for everyone trying to play that game with you. Here's the truth almost no one says out loud. People do not stop testing you because they decide to respect you. They stop because their nervous system decides you are not worth the cost. That decision happens below conscious thought. The same way animals scan for the easy target and avoid the expensive one. You stopped being easy. They moved on. No conversation required. Pick one principle and use it for the next 7 days. Just one. The one that hit you the hardest while watching is probably the one you have been violating the longest. Watch what shifts. Watch how people who used to test you constantly become quieter around you. Watch how rooms feel different when you walk into them. None of this needs confrontation. All of it needs new positioning. Also, drop a comment and tell us which principle hit you the hardest and which test from your past you finally see clearly.